So let me get this right. There are no pinball games coming out in 2020. So for a whole year, these companies have hyped up pinball, have gotten our hopes up, and then wait till the last minute to basically tell us that none of us are actually going to get pinball in 2020. Let's start at the top. Arcade1Up, since they're the biggest. They've hyped this up since the Consumer Electronics Show in January, okay? Toy Shark came out with an original idea that was their ideal. They came out with a pinball. It wasn't perfect, but it was reasonably priced, okay? Arcade1Up seen a money train and they jumped on it, and they got all of us to jump on it with them. So poor Toy Shark basically got pushed to the side because we were all so excited about Arcade1Up coming out with all these great pinball games, to just find out that they make an announcement on Facebook that there will be no pinball in 2020. It's not going to be even in early 2021. It's not going to be till February 8th, I believe. So how long have you known that you could not get pinball to us? Because you had all of these months to get this together, and you've decided to drop this bomb a couple of weeks before Christmas so everyone's Christmas can be ruined. Are you serious, Arcade1Up? Let's go on to the next one, At Games Pinball. At Games Pinball took pre-orders. Of course, if you're in wave one, they're giving you some faint hope that you might get a pinball machine if you are in a wave one pre-order. But they also said that it will be extremely limited. Okay, so you know what that means, guys? That means we're talking about At Games, who came out with the At Games Arcade, which I do own over here. So we're talking about At Games Arcade, okay? And At Games Arcade, if you remember, you could not get a hold of that arcade machine. I couldn't get a hold of it. You couldn't get a hold of it before Christmas last year. You couldn't get a hold of it in January and February. Finally, in March, I got mine. But a lot of people could not get this unit until fall. They never said that they had a severe shortage and that they could not meet, that they would not be able to get these machines out. So if they're saying now that they have a limited release, I guarantee you it is extremely hyper limited. So if you're in wave one and you're thinking that you're going to get an At Games pinball in 2020, think again, because I would not be surprised if they release 50 to 100 pinballs only. So as you can just basically write them off for 2020. And you know At Games is very slow. They're not that big of a company. So who knows when you'll get your pinball? Who knows when I'll get mine? Okay, that's At Games. Let's move on. Now we have Well Placed. Well Placed is still saying December 15th release. There's been rumors that that might be delayed. I don't know. Well Played, I have not heard any confirmation one way or the other. As of right now, Well Played is one of the few people, one of the few games in town for you to get a pinball if you want a pinball in 2020 for Christmas. They are the most reasonably priced, along with Toy Shark. Let's move to Toy Shark. Toy Shark is coming out with their updated pinball that supposedly fixes some of the issues that they had in the first edition. And it looks like they're saying that it's going to be released right before Christmas. What that means is that if you order that online, you probably won't get it till after Christmas. But you probably will get it before anything else, unless Well Played releases theirs. So there you go, guys. No pinball in 2020 from any company. They all are basically writing this year off, and we've basically have gotten screwed over by all of them. And I don't want to hear about Corvid anymore from these companies. I'm so tired of them using that freaking crutch. You had 10 months, a year, and even more than a year for a lot of these companies who were already pre-planning this stuff to get this together. Yes, you had a little delay in China, but guess what? China's been up and running since June. They have been up and running at full force. They don't have a Corvid problem anymore. We are the ones with the Corvid problem. So what's the problem with having them built in China? That's where you're having them built at, isn't it? So what is the problem in the delay? Don't use the Corvid as an excuse, okay? You do not have that excuse anymore. Basically, you screwed us and you strung us along this whole time and pretended like you had pinball and you know you weren't going to release it and you don't have it in time. I would love to see how many people get the pinball from At Games, because that little hope that they're giving us is little, very little. What they're trying to do is pretend that they're doing something, but they're not, because they don't have the ability to get those pinballs to us, and they know it. So even if they do get a few of you to give you some hope, just remember what happened last year. You waited 8-9 months to get the At Games machine. Don't think it's going to be worse with the pinball, which is much more difficult to make. And that's all I have to say about this whole issue about pinball. But if you do want pinball in 2020, your best shot would be Well Played Games or Toy Shark. You can forget anything else.